You're not lazy, you're exhausted. And there's an important difference between the two. Lazy implies choice, exhaustion doesn't. Lazy suggests you could do more if you really wanted to. Exhaustion means your system has been running on empty for longer than anyone realizes, including you. If you've been calling yourself lazy lately, this video is for you. There's a particular kind of tiredness that sleep doesn't fix. You can rest, you can take time off, you can cancel plans, and still feel like everything takes more effort than it should. Getting out of bed feels heavy. Basic tasks feel overwhelming. Things you used to enjoy now feel like obligations. And at some point, someone, maybe even you, labels that as laziness. But what's actually happening is much quieter and much more human. Exhaustion isn't always physical. Sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes it's mental. Sometimes it's the result of holding yourself together for too long without enough support. When you're anxious, your body stays alert even when nothing is happening. When you're depressed, everything requires more energy than it should. When you've been under pressure for a long time, your nervous system doesn't know how to switch off. That kind of tiredness doesn't show on the outside. So from the outside, it looks like procrastination, or lack of motivation, or not trying hard enough. But from the inside, it feels like wading through thick water just to do normal things. Here's something we don't talk about enough. Motivation isn't something you lose because you don't care. You lose it because your brain is protecting you from overload. When you're exhausted, your mind starts prioritizing survival over productivity. It pulls back. It slows you down. It limits how much you engage with the world. Not because you're failing, but because you've already been pushing past your limits for too long. You might notice yourself thinking things like, "I should be doing more. Other people cope with this. Why can't I just get on with it?" Those thoughts feel convincing. They sound logical, but they're not facts. They're symptoms. They come from a tired mind trying to make sense of why everything feels harder than it used to. Exhaustion also changes how you see yourself. When you're rested, effort feels possible. When you're exhausted, effort feels pointless. So you stop starting things. You delay decisions. You avoid tasks, not because you don't want to do them, but because you don't trust you have the energy to finish them. And then that avoidance gets mislabeled as laziness. Let's gently reframe something. If you were lazy, you wouldn't feel guilty about resting. You wouldn't feel frustrated with yourself. You wouldn't wish you could do more. Laziness doesn't come with shame. Exhaustion does. There's also a grief that comes with this kind of tiredness. Grief for the version of you that had energy, that could juggle things, that didn't have to think so hard about every decision. That loss is real, and pretending it isn't there just adds another layer of strain. So what do you do with this? Not fix it, not push through it, not force motivation to appear, but recognize it. You start by changing the question. Instead of asking, "Why am I so lazy?" you ask, "What's been draining me?" Sometimes the answer is obvious. Sometimes it isn't. But the question itself is kinder, and kindness matters more than discipline when you're exhausted. You're allowed to need rest before you earn it. You're allowed to slow down without justifying it. You're allowed to be in a season where surviving takes more energy than thriving. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. If nothing else, let this be the takeaway. You're not failing at life. You're responding normally to being overwhelmed, overstretched, or emotionally worn down. And that response deserves understanding, not punishment. If this resonated with you, you don't need to do anything with it. You don't need to change. You don't need to improve. You don't need to take action. Sometimes recognizing what's happening is enough for today.